What's up, guys? Another profile deck update for Team Shadowburst. Jaden here. I've been back in a while, so I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of a profile here, maybe giving you an idea of how I'm running Infernoids, if you are interested. The Infernoid deck post Raging Tempest will be the best deck that I think, because of the archetype for Zodiacs. It's a good matchup. It keeps the deck on edge, and hopefully you don't deck out. But I'm going to show you a little bit of the ins and outs of the deck, starting with the monsters and giving a little bit of a description. This may be a long video, but we'll see what happens. Let's go ahead and check this out here. So to get you guys started, it's going to give you a bit of a profile. I only played 2 Infernoid Onochu. The only reason is because he's easy to get out just by removing 3. You don't want to clog yourself trying to get out that many. I see some people running 3, but I think 2 is a fair number, especially being a boss monster. And you may not get the cards you need to keep him out on the board, but it's good for removal of monsters, so that's a good start at least. Going with 2 Deviati. Deviati being the heavy storm, or the Harpy's Feather Duster rather, for the deck. Giving a little bit of the standpoint. Very good to come back. I've seen some Solemn Warning plays. They lose 1,500. He just keeps coming back and wiping the board. So I like it very much. I mean, I may lose 6 monsters, but 9 times out of 10, losing 6 monsters, especially the turnout on Infernoids, is not so bad. And you'll see why in a second, just by me running it. So it's good also to keep 2 Deviati. I don't like running 3 for any aspect. Let's go with the 8-star. I like 3 of these guys. And Tondel, the double battler. This is like your OTK finisher, especially if your opponent has a monster. This is really good to even run at 3, so I wouldn't suggest running it any less. I like it a lot, and it's good to clear out problem cards. Maybe if they're not destroyed by battle the first time, you can easily run it down again. But you might want to kill it with this. And because it's the only way to get its effect anyway to activate, and that's what you would want to do. So if you like OTK plays, running 3 of Antondel will work for you. I like 3 Sisetsmus. Reason is because I like banishing stuff, especially in this archetype. Banishing cards at the end of the damage step, like those problem cards in the back row. If they're not going to activate anything, end your battle phase and banish it, just in case they don't get no good plays out. I know Eidolons are going to be having that field card that allows you to do stuff, and so on and so forth, but it's good to get rid of it anyway. If they have a monster that you cannot kill at the end of the damage step, banish it, or at the end of the battle phase, banish it. It's good. I like running 3 of this guy, and it's good to even out your banish 2s a lot, because, you know, running 6 monsters that banish 2 is good, and then 2 that banish 3, like I said, so it's pretty even for the way it looks. Here's your banish ones, your Patrullo. These guys are good. They destroy a monster. You don't get a battle phase with these, but that's okay, because sometimes you could just use them from synchro plays. Petrurella is 1,800, and this is good to just start off the match. You know, just having it out on the board, especially if you don't get Decatron, which I'll explain a little bit about him later. Good to run 3 of these, and it's the only 1,800 monster that I would run so far. Let's go with my boy here, 3 Harmadix. This guy is the MVP. This guy destroys basically anything on the field. He can't attack the turn you do it. As I mistakenly said, I do apologize. Patrurella is the one that destroys spells and traps, as I'm going to put up here. So target a spell and trap on the field and destroy it. So it's good to get rid of problem cards like Solemn Warning and things like that, and Solemn Strike, just in case they don't do it right away. These can only go off in your hand. This one is the boss that destroys the monsters. He may only have 1,600, but it gets rid of important monsters that people would need to continue plays. And it's just a one-off. Again, they don't go into battle if they activate their effects, but that's okay. So, again, Petrulia is the one that destroys spells and traps. Harmadic is the one that destroys monsters. Another monster here, Antras. Run 3 of these guys, please. I definitely agree. 3 Antra. This will return a monster to the hand. So I think this is really good to even have. Especially if they can't be destroyed, you just return it. So, you know, it sucks that Crystal Wing is such a boss monster, and it's very good now, even at its price. But still having this guy out, getting rid of Zodiacs, just returning their stuff, really awesome. I like it a lot at 3. Plus, it has 2,000 defense, so not many monsters can run over that real quickly. And there's a card in here that I will show you that I actually like that keeps it that way. Here we are with 3 Decatron. Decatron is the Foolish Burial for your Infernoids. This will also give you the ability to synchro play. So it's good to change the level of Decatron if you really need to go into a monster real quickly. So this is one monster I cannot see not playing at 3. I used to run War Arthal just to get these out somehow one way or another, but there's other ways I can do that. I kind of lowered my spell count drastically for more monsters, but you'll see why in a minute when I do this. So running 3 Decatron is really special. Here's the one-offs. 1 Primalus. Good to destroy set cards, especially if your opponent sets a defender, a monster, and or spell or trap. Get rid of it. This is just a one-off. It has no attack or defense. Good for synchro plays. Just want to keep it at 1. Uses effect, no battle, and then synchro with it. Get it away as quickly as possible. 1 Sete. The reason why 1 Jete is because it's 2,400. It's 6 stars. It does what the boss monsters do. This will get rid of a card in their hand if it's not chainable in the graveyard. Again, only running 1 of these is sufficient and precise. You get the Omega play if you just do the Omega effect and then the banish, and then you attack with this. So they kind of lose 2 cards. That's why I like it, having it at 1. Not so many as, 2 or 3, at least for right now. Last Infernoid would be Piatti. The reason why Piatti is so good in this deck, again, it's a 2, banish 2. This can banish an extra deck card that my opponent controls when I inflict battle damage. But again, it's not really important. This is really good for synchro. That's the only reason why I only have it, because it's 5 stars. And there's a lot I can go into 5-star with. You can do your Tzolk'in plays and things like that, like if you use Instant Fusion. I'll show you a little bit around that just to give you an idea, but I don't run Tzolk'in, but it is a choice if I were to change the extra deck. So just running 1 of this is suffice. And the big boss monsters can come back from being in the graveyard and or in the hand. The little ones, however, must be in your hand to even complete the special summon by meeting its requirement. All Infernoids contribute themselves to basically banish a card in my opponent's graveyard, especially if it's a monster or a spell or trap that may get an effect. To go back to the bigger ones, the boss monsters, these are good. So if my opponent were to activate a spell or trap or a monster effect, attributing an Infernoid on the field or in my hand, or on the field, basically, would just allow these to negate and destroy. So it's a quick play for my turn. Still really good to even be here, and I like them a lot. So just keeping it that way. 2 Raiden. The Lightsworn monster, of course, you mill 2, you do the minor play just to make sure that you can at least get some cards in the graveyard. At the end phase, you can mill 2 again. These are tuners, so it's also good with your Infernoids to make even larger plays. So I like using it at 2. Next up on our roster, of course, is the Fairy Tale Snow at 2. I like it. I want to see it in the graveyard, banish 7 spells and traps, get this guy out in Book of Moon. It's also good for synergy with synchro plays, and I curiously like it. I'm not even going to lie, this won me a lot of duels. So, Fairy Tale Snow, please don't get hit on the ban list. That's just my regards. And last but not least on our list, the Plant Engine, aka the Trinity, the Glow Up Bulb, the Dandelion, and the Spore. If you see any of these in the graveyard, it's just good things happening. The Dandelion will give you a token or 2 tokens to sit on, just in case you don't get Decatron. Or if you get Decatron, it's good for a synchro play immediately, so it's awesome. The Glow Up Bulb being in the graveyard, you mill that 1 card to even get it back. So it's good for a tune-up. So I like it. And of course, Spore, you can banish either one of these and it becomes the star level of the plant. So this is, again, a tuner. Really good to even have in the deck. That's why it's only staying at the Trinity, Spore, Dandelion, and Glow Up Bulb. So let's go ahead here to our spells. And we'll get right started to what the synergy of the deck can do. First off, of course, like I said, it's going to be post Raging Battle. That grass looks greener. Should have kept mowing the lawn, but I'm pretty sure you know why. But with this card at 3, you want to see it, so keep it at 3. It mills the deck, basically giving deck knowledge. You might as well find out how many cards are in your opponent's deck. That way you can count from the bottom how many cards are left. So out of your deck to equal his, then you mill the top cards. I've seen myself milling 25 at one point, and that was an OTK because I had everything in the graveyard to go off. Plus I still had a hand, so it's still good to even have going so far. Because this is like a first turn and or second turn card. So you always want to keep it at 3. Just to get Infernoids in the graveyard. The next MVP of the list, of course, Enter the Void. I like that draw. It sucks that I don't have Upstart Goblin. I mean, I have it at 1, but that's not enough. I like Enter the Voids. This card has shot up dramatically in price if you look on TCG Player. Get them as quickly as possible. These are the +1s. So if you have 3 or more in your hand, you can draw a card. At the end of the turn, you drop your hand. But 9 times out of 10, you won't have a hand going into the Infernoid plays. So it's still good regardless. I like it being at 3. Plus, it's very searchable for the next card I'm going to show you. So let's get right into that one. 3 Void Vanishment, the search card. This will give me my Void Feast, my Into the Voids, my Void Imagination, just any Void card as long as it's not like Into the Void or Null and Void, Null and Void or another Void Vanishment. So I don't even run those. I don't run Null and Void, but I like this being where it is because I can search that Into the Void just to mill out the deck and get a +1. Or search for that Void Feast, which is OTK-able. So, keeping this at 3 is very sufficient and suffice. Please do so, at least keeping it as an idea. Next on our roster, 3 Void Imagination. Very good as a Shaddoll Fusion. So, if your opponent has monster from the extra deck special summon, you can take monsters out of your deck for the fusion summon of that, +6 others for the Infernoid Tiara. It's the only way to do it. Regarding these 3, you would need to lower your star count only for Infernoids. They become 1 stars. Until this card removes itself from the field, maybe for the fusion summon. It's the only way to keeping your star levels very concise, because you can't have 8 or more on the board with Infernoids. It would be too powerful regardless. Next up, we have Void Seer. I like Void Seer. Void Seer is a 2-card combo which you can chain off to uneffectively use your monsters, and they become pretty much non-stoppable. Or if they're in the graveyard, you can destroy, or you can stop a destruction by card effect. So I like either way you look at it. Either it's in your hand or it's in your graveyard, it's going to do something. So just keep it at 2. If it had a better effect, maybe at 3, but just keep it at 2. Next, I have 1 Instant Fusion. Either way you look at it, I'm going to definitely go ahead and get my chance to maybe get another. I think 1 will do for now because I always see this milled away. Or if it's multiple copies, it's milled away. So I'll show you what plays I can do with Instant Fusion just to give you an idea, but just running it at 1. Next one, it would be left arm offering. I'm going to get another one. I think 2 would be good for the most part, but 1 for now is good, especially because it banishes your hand. You want to keep your hand because it's very good. Certain monsters will continuously do plays, but if you get rid of your hand just for that grass looks greener, very situational, because you might want to have your hand at the end of milling the rest of your deck away to equal your opponent. So we'll see. I'd only play it at 1 for now, but it's actually pretty good, especially if I have trash hands. I wish this was higher, but we can only play it at 1. Burial from a different dimension. Returns 3 monsters from the graveyard, or from the remove from play pile back to the graveyard. So that Deviati play, like I mentioned, or the Onochu play, just puts it right back so you continue to go, negging your opponent life points if he were to negate your summon. So this is awesome to play. Wish we had it more. Reasoning. Another good card, because even if you don't get that grass looks greener, Reasoning is a good play. I have monsters in the deck that can be summoned, so if everything goes until a monster gets summoned, then so be it. If he calls it right, whatever, and I can use the Infernoids in the graveyard to just start escalating more plays, regardless of the matter. Of course, Monster Gate. So if I have a token, like I mentioned, Dandelion or Spore Glow Up Bulb, very good plays. Get rid of them so you can continue to mill it down. Glad it's at 1, but the tributing of the monster is not really necessary, but it's still good regardless. 1 for 1. Get Decatron out as fast as you can, so 1 for 1 is good. You throw away an Infernoid that you can't summon right away, like Deviati or Onochu or any of the boss monsters. Get that 1 for 1 play. So you be able to go ahead and at least start something out when you do it. Alright, and that's it for the spells. I think I have a lot there, but it's not, it's not going to be, too drastic whatsoever. I mean, it's still going to have the spells. Let's go with the traps here. The main trap card that we have is Void Feast. Please run this at 3. I like it a lot. Void Feast being at 3 is too superb. Gives you 3 monsters, ignoring its summoning conditions, to summon monsters that equal 8 stars. So you can play multiples of these because there's no restriction. But as long as you have a Void card to discard or alleviate from the field, you can continue to play this. So I remember one day I summoned I summoned 5 monsters. It said it equaled 8 stars. I couldn't go any more over that, but it said 8 or less. So playing 2 was good because I got 5 monsters on the board and I exceeded my star count. But that's not really the gist. I was able to synchro summon, do massive plays, like the Omega play, get another monster out, summon Deviati, whiteboard, and still have a play to continue. So Void Feast being at 3, really awesome. Glad it came out. The card I'd like to introduce that a lot of people were thinking about, maybe, but don't run it. Rise to Full Height. I play it at 3. I'm going to explain this card a little bit and get you a little bit of an idea. What Rise to Full Height is, especially if you have Antler on the field, it doubles one monster's defense. Doesn't matter where it is. If it is in defensive mode, your Antler goes to 4,000 defense. Give your opponent something to worry about, especially with the attacking, trying to get over it. Give them some life point damage, so that way you can at least be ahead. The secondary effect of this card is what really gets me going. You target a monster on the field, and your opponent is the only one to attack that monster. So he has 5 monsters on the board, he must attack that monster. He can't attack nothing else. That is its only restriction. So if I were to, say, play Omega and use its effect to banish, my opponent loses his battle phase because Omega was the target to attack and he's no longer on the board. So running it at 3, please. I love it a lot. Giving you guys an idea, came out in Shining Victory. Play this at 3. At least give it a try. If you don't want to, understand, but I like it because of its graveyard ability, especially to escalate even further if your opponent were to try to OTK or attack you. So running it at 3 is awesome. Torrential Tribute. I don't like when metaphors go off, destroy them. Or Zodiacs for that matter. Just, be it enlightened. There are some Zodiac players that will definitely be running Starlight Roads. Be very careful when you see Torrential Tribute played. But you may get away with it, and 80% of the community will just have to see. And then, of course, finally, Vanity's Emptiness. Keep it at 1. That's always going to be at 1. No way it's going to go back. But stopping him from special summoning. So that's the introduction of Infernoids, giving you a bit of description. Letting you know right now, this extra deck is not fully complete, but it is complete enough to show you a run through. We'll start off first with 2 Tiara. Infernoid Tiara is very, very awesome. 3,400 attack. I wish we had the Elder Entity girl that was supposed to come out, but we don't have her yet. Was the reason why I don't run it at 3. But 2 is fine for the fact that I can take 3 monsters out of my opponent's extra deck. And of course, 3 monsters or 3 cards off the top of both players' decks. So, not bad. Still giving the edge, especially if they get rid of their best monsters out of the extra deck. Now, if they're playing Burning Abyss, you kind of don't want to do that since 3 Dante will get effect. But just giving you an idea. But that's it. The instant fusion targets and or the Sea Monster or Thesis, and of course, Thousand Eyes Restrict. So either one can definitely do something. The reason why Thousand Eyes Restrict was part of this is because of the Decatron play. I'm going to show you a synchro monster that will allow you to do maybe a 1 or 2 card Crystal Wing synchro. It won't be like Wind Witches that can do it, but at least it's sufficient in here. The reason why Thesis is in here is because it can escalate big synchro monsters or just go into the Tzolk'in play, which you can do. It is very viable. You can do either way you want. Of course, the one's Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, boss. It's Cyframe Omega. So I was thinking about running it at 2, but I can only get my hands on 1. We'll see what happens. It is still a little pricey. We'll definitely get some more into it. Cyframe Omega, like I said, is the rise to full height target, especially if your opponent were to attack. So you would target this. He's the only monster your opponent can attack. You use his effect to banish to take 1 out of your opponent's hand. He has no battle phase. So thumbs up for that. A common card that is really good for this format. Next on our list, Scarlet Dragon Archene. I still don't see any better 8-star other than the other 2 that I showed, but this will clear problem monsters that were special summoned. So definitely get on that. I like it a lot. It inflicts 500 points, so it gets rid of your Infernoids and you can resummon them. So inflict as much damage as possible, even with Scarlet Dragon Archene. I love it, and I would probably run it at 2 if I could. Clear Ring, of course. So even with monsters that still target level 5 or higher, there are still those DDD plays and so on and so forth. Negate and Destroy. Not as good as Crystal, but it's still decent and it gets there. Black Rose, or Black Moonlight Rose. With this one, very, very good. I can return a special summon monster, which is like not bad. So it's not good, not bad. Kind of just want to keep it in the middle. I was thinking about picking up a Black Rose, just wiping board and restarting, because Infernoids will continue to go, but we'll see what happens later. Of course, this guy, MVP, I like him. High Speed Roy Chambra. The reason why Chambara is in here is because it's a double battler. It keeps his attack points, and it's just steadily just running over stuff. So, especially if your opponent has nothing on the field, you go in for 22 and again for 24. So, it's a very good chunk of life point deduction, just keeping you on edge. It's level 5, very easy to summon, and it doesn't require much. So, it's good that you have this at 1, maybe 2 later. Older Ender Dynaster. The reason why I was thinking Haster is really, really tough. Those Twin Twister plays, or any destruction in the back row play. When Deviati summon, I can destroy my back row. Let's say I was to put it on something I want to take and blow up the back row. All but void cards on my side of the field and my opponent's side of the field are destroyed. So Old Naster goes to graveyard, activating ability, taking opponent's monster, and I have Deviati. So I can't, it doesn't get any better than that. So I like it. Here's a monster that you guys were thinking about, and I put it to use, and it gave me my Crystal Wing my Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Yes, Goyo Defender. Now, he's very easy to continue plays, and it will increase the ability of you summoning. Remember that Decatron play that I was mentioning, or the Spore play. You bring out Spore, it becomes a level 4, when you remove Dandelion, or it can become a level 2. So you'll take 2 of these, and, of course, Spore, and you get Crystal Wing. Or if you were to banish Decatron, or Special Decatron uses effect to bring its stars to level 5. One of these can make a Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. So apparently this guy is very easy, the 1-card combo. Especially if he's the only one on the field, continue to summon them once per turn. So you'll have 3 on the board. Each one of them, will be 2,000 attack points. Other than that guy. So 1, 2. So each one will be 2,000 higher than what they are. So they'll be at 3,000 apiece. So that's why I was thinking about running Goyo Defender. Good having it at 3,000 apiece, because other than this card, so if it's 1 on the field, it targets the other 2, and so on and so forth. So keeping it that way, I love Goyo Defender. I wish it was a high rarity, but Goyo Defender is still good. And last but not least, Levier. I have a lot of banish, so if there's a monster I can target, I can, from either side rather, especially my opponent, because with Levier being on the field, I can take my opponent's monsters using the Infernoids to banish. So, giving you an idea, this is also a 5-star monster, or a 5-star card. Reason I call it 5 is rank 5. It's good. Anything on a scale of 1 to 5 is good. 5 is being the best, 1 being the worst. This is 5 because I can take from both sides. That's what I was trying to say. But in regards, this is just a practice deck profile, giving you a bit of introduction and a bit of description. I may have messed up a couple ways, but I did, mention all the monsters, what they can do, and especially certain plays. Here's another part of the extra deck I haven't gotten to, but you can definitely use if you were to run it. Of course, if you're using the Tzolk'in play, like I mentioned, Tzolk'in, of course, would be your main guy. You would set your Void Feast to summon other monsters, such as Beals. Beals being a good boss monster, can't be targeted or destroyed. Cannot be destroyed by battle, and cannot be destroyed by card effects. So, this is good. 3,000. Of course, if you take damage, he's going to gain attack. So it's going to be really hard to get this off the board unless they return it. Trish. So you can also do a Trish play if you choose. Level 9, you can get it out and start banishing stuff from everywhere. So again, I think that was really good. But this is just a practice run. I'm still going to go ahead and try to maintain practice and see what I can do to get more out of the deck. But this is just it's made for a long video, and again, I apologize, but, those who are trying to build a good deck for the format or trying to get something started, Infernoids, again, being a great start. It is a little pricey, though, but you'll be able to manage getting them. And again, this is J-Nub here with the deck profile for Infernoid's introduction, and hope you like what you saw. If you have any other ideas, please post them in the comments. Comment, rate, and subscribe. Definitely. Appreciate you guys. Again, thank you for watching. Take care.